best of New Zealand motorsport on Powerbuilt Tools. Motorsport like the New Zealand Rally Championship. Round 3, Rally Wairarapa. Hayden Padden, a young man in a hurry, leading the championship. Richard Mason going into this event, his home event, as defending champion.
It's round 3 of the Vantage Aluminium Joinery New Zealand Rally Championship, Rally Wairarapa, based in Richard Mason's hometown of Masterton. In round 1 at Otago, Mason withstood a strong challenge from Dunedin driver Emma Gilmore to claim a 2.5-second victory. But at round 2 on the roads of Northland, both drivers succumbed to crashes. For Gilmore, it would mean a frantic few weeks as her team sourced and built a brand new car. But round 2 did produce a new star in the form of 20-year-old Hayden Padden, who won the rally outright and sent ripples throughout the rally world with his combination of speed and maturity.
No matter what happens from here, you've had a stonking good event. Really, really well done.
Hayden leading the championship, obviously won the last round, and you find yourself number 1 on the road.
Yeah, it's a great position to be in, and it'd be good if we can hang on to that all year, but under no illusions how difficult that's going to be, and we've got to stay out of trouble this weekend and get some more points.
In terms of the roads, a lot of gravel on the surface, it'd be a problem?
Yeah, there is a lot of gravel, and it will be a bit of a handicap, but the next few cars behind us aren't going to be much better off, so that's the way it is, and we just got to do what we can with it and just make sure we get to the end.
Richard Mason's car has been repaired, and he's looking forward to once again dominating on these roads.
Richard, the 3rd round, and it's your home event.
Yeah, certainly been looking forward to this one. Home crowds, roads, we've got some idea what's going on. We know what the conditions are like, so yeah, bring it on.
Talking about conditions, I believe there's a lot of heavy gravel on the road.
Yeah, sure. In Recce today, we could see a lot of very heavy gravel around, and typical of around here in the Hawke's Bay, we just get a lot of gravel on the road, so that's the way we would have expected it.
Mason's misfortune at Whangarei had allowed Palmerston North driver Sam Murray to climb back into points contention.
Sam, after the hard time in Otago, you find yourself second in the championship, only 14 points behind.
Yeah, Otago, as we all know, wasn't a great start, and Whangarei was a little bit better. We had our ups and downs there as well, but had a good day at Recce today, and hopefully the weekend's going to be kind to us.
Talking about the roads out there, I believe a lot of heavy gravel. You're at the front end of the field.
Yeah, it is heavy. Every car that passes will have a better road, I think. So maybe anywhere in the towards back at the end of the top 10 is going to be the perfect spot, but can't change that. Richard and Hayden, who are right there in the championship as well, are in front. So I guess in that respect we're slightly better off.
As well as building a brand new car, Emma Gilmore has had just 3 weeks to recover from her concussion.
Emma, last time we saw you, it didn't really look good with that big crash, but what's happened since then?
Yeah, like 3 weeks ago I didn't think I'd be here at Wairarapa after a big accident in Whangarei, but we were lucky enough that we were able to buy a shell, and the team have done an amazing job building up a new car in the span of basically 2 weeks.
Dean, very fast in the last round. A lot of people tipping you for this one.
Well, I hope so, Roger, but you never know what's going to happen really. The stages are full of gravel, and it's quite thick, and we're not too sure if it's going to even sweep off for us, and we're car number 5 on the road, so yeah, you might even see some back runners sort of 10, 15 on the road coming through and winning stages.
Do you think the gravel is that heavy it's going to affect you quite badly as well?
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't think it's going to sweep off to enough for us to be super fast. We should hopefully be faster than the cars in front of us, but I'd be more worried about the cars behind us coming through and doing fast times.
So Hayden Padden leads the field away over the start line at Masterton. Time for us now to join Emma Gilmore for the Vantage Stage preview.
We head north to the remote area of Pongaroa to start today's stages. Stages 1, 2 and 3 are typical of the area, narrow and twisty as we climb over some really challenging country. We'll definitely need to be on the case this morning as the road's a definite challenge. Stage 4, Manahara Road, is going to be awesome. At 44 kilometres long, it's one of the longest stages in the championship. Can't afford to slow down through here as we'll just get left behind. Middle section is very tight, very narrow, with some really big drops on the right-hand side. It then opens out to be very fast at the finish. It's awesome. We head south to stages 5 and 6, which are going to be very typical of tomorrow's stages. A bit faster and a bit more cresty. Should be an awesome way to finish the day.
So for the first time in his young career, Hayden Paddon leads a championship rally away. Roger, you talked with the teams before the start about the road conditions. What's in store for Hayden?
Well, a whole new experience here for Hayden, and it won't be a pleasant one. What he's got is a lot of thick gravel on the road, and you can see there he's already working that wheel pretty hard. Now what this means, thick gravel on the road, no traction, loss of time equals a bad stage time. Your fellow competitors just run away from you. Already you can see him struggling there.
So can Richard Mason overcome the gravel and set himself back into the Rally Championship points chase? Paddon sets the pace with 11 minutes 44 seconds. That's 44 seconds slower than Richard Mason's record of 11 minutes set in 2005.
6 left plus and 6 right over concrete bridge. Time to score 5. 50. 6 left. Repeat 6 right cut. 50. 6 left.
Mason's stage time much better at 11 minutes 30, but that's still 30 seconds off his record. Sam Murray's next on the road, and an 11 minute 34 suggests that the road gravel isn't much different for him either. Next at the start, Emma Gilmore, and what will be going through her mind, Roger?
She'll be very nervous today after a big crash up north. She's got to get back on the horse. Now, no expectations today for Emma. It's all about patience.
12 minutes 07. That's 37 seconds slower than Mason. That's about 2 seconds a K slower. Dean Sumner is next, and the road is starting to sweep, but his time of just 11:37, so he slots in behind Murray. Tyre choice and type could come into play as well. Brett Martin has a limited selection of MRF rubber as he sets out to match Mason.
Well, Brett's only got really one compound to work with. Now, if the road suits him, he'll be fast. If it doesn't, he'll be a little bit slower.
Just 1 second down on Mason. That's an 11:31 for Martin. But the first driver to really benefit from the sweat road is Dylan Turner, just 0.7 of a second slower than Mason.
Well, you can see there, Dylan Turner's got a very sweat road. In fact, I don't think the intercom's working because there's no audio coming out of that car. Now, these sweat roads, if you run down the order, it's a major advantage. I don't really know if it's fair on the competitors running at the top end of the field.
Stuart Taylor really set the rally buzzing by beating Mason 11:29.2, so really taking advantage of the road position, but he wasn't the only one. Nathan Thomas showed us at round 2 that he's willing to mix it with much more experienced company. Well, now he found himself leading the rally with a stunning 11 minute 27.2. Stage 2, Rimu Road, another short 9k sprint, and once again fresh laid gravel facing the first few cars. Could Richard Mason get the lead on his home event? Paddon again struggling through the gravel. Roger, he looks more like a gardener than a sweeper here.
Well, he's struggling, certainly moving a lot of dirt here. What he's got to be is very patient. He's just got to keep trucking on. It's going to be a struggle all day for him here.
But it was Dean Sumner who would set the pace here with a 6 minute 45.5. But once again, that's 20 seconds slower than the stage record. Richard Mason managed a 6 minutes 46.7, just 1.2 seconds behind Sumner. But look here how his car looks like it's going through treacle.
Well, as you can see here, Darcy, it's pretty bad for Richard. He's running 2 on the road. And as you can see here, it just looks like the car's been just sucked into the road. Richard is struggling. He's doing a great job considering his number 2 road position.
Nathan Thomas was just 0.9 of a second slower than Mason, so stays ahead at the moment by 1.3 seconds.
Now let's just have a look at Nathan Thomas's driving style. He's a very aggressive. In fact, he's understeering into that corner, goes into big oversteer and throws the car in again. Very aggressive driver, but a lot of people have been quite impressed with him. He's up on 2 wheels almost there.
Brett Martin, 4th fastest, and so he moved into 4th place. But Stuart Taylor's now dropped to 3rd behind Richard Mason. His time, 6 minutes 49.2. Unfortunately, that was the end of the day for Taylor, who crashed on the next stage. Mason could do nothing about Thomas's lead on the next 20k stage, Waihoki Valley. In fact, being longer just made the problem worse for the lead cars. In fact, Mason would lose a whopping 12.3 seconds to Thomas on that stage.
33 left minus.
So after 3 stages, Nathan Thomas leads Leg 1 by 13.4 seconds over Brett Martin, who took advantage of his road position to sweep by Mason and Dean Sumner. Sam Murray improving to 5th, and Patrick Malley visits the top 8 for the first time this season.
Hayden, you're down in 7th place. Certainly looks like you've been a road sweeper this morning.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It has been fun, I'll admit that, but it is quite frustrating every corner. You know, you're losing a lot of time, and it has made for a few moments, but our main problem is we've got no braking grip and we can't get into the corner, so we'll make a few adjustments now and see if we can find some grip.
But Hayden's loss has been Nathan Thomas's gain, and the man from Wellington was as surprised as anyone to find himself in the lead.
Nathan, big surprise in the rally today. You're currently leading.
I know that's, like I said before, utter madness. I can't believe it. We've got apparently a 12-second lead on Mason, which is... It's almost mind-boggling. I can't believe it. So we'll just keep pushing and keep it up and see what happens.
You've extended it, actually. You've got a 13-second lead on Richard now.
Well, there you go then. Every time I hear it, I just can't believe it. So, like I said, name of the game, just keep on the road and don't do anything silly, and we'll see what happens by the end of the day.
And while Mason must have been wondering what he could do to change his fortune, problems arose with the BNT Subaru.
Richard, looked like you had a problem with the car coming into service.
Yeah, certainly the first 3 stages our car's just not handling. It's not because there's heaps of loose gravel on the road, though that's not making it easier. What it is there's for some reason the centre diff isn't fully tightening up through the corners, and what that's making it do is if we've got a bit of understeer going, it makes it worse, and if we've got a bit of oversteer, it makes that worse. So the car becomes a little bit unpredictable, a bit taily and snappy. Like, I don't know, you guys will see from the in-car, it's just snapping all the time, the steering wheel's moving, so a bit difficult.
I see you grooving tyres as well to help that as well.
Yeah, what we're trying to do there is just, if we can't fix the problem, we need to try and reduce it. So the idea is groove the tyres, get through to the hard road, and at least have some consistency. So that's the idea.
And in second place, Brett Martin was ruling a simple mistake, which cost him about 10 seconds.
Brett, been a reasonable morning so far. You're in second place.
Yeah, I've had a few little niggles, more my driving than anything else. Just stage 2, we stopped before the actual flying finish flag, and pretty dumb thing to do, really.
This certainly is. You could have been just about leading the rally.
Yeah, well, one of those things, a bit of a memory lapse, I suppose.
So on to stage 4, and at 44.5k, it's one of the longest in the championship. And light rain falling may be a blessing for the front runners, as the road will not sweep as clean as it would in the dry. Being over 40k long, this stage will be the make or break of the day for Mason. Nathan Thomas running 7 cars back in road order. Can he hold the lead? On board with Mason near the quarry at the summit. Roger, do you think that Richard's cuts to his Dunlop tyres have helped?
Definitely, I think they would help, especially in these conditions where it's very heavily in gravel and the tyres can get down underneath into the bottom of the surface. You can see there, in fact, he's struggling a little bit there, probably everyone would, but it's quite slippery through that quarry. Now, Richard was saying he's got a bit of a diff problem, so maybe the cut tyre will assist. Now, Nathan Thomas, he's running 7 cars further back on the road, and already he's got a lot better line than what Richard had.
So at the stage end, Mason's time 31 minutes 31.5 seconds. That's a minute slower than Chris West's record set in 2005.
This rain coming down, would that suit you a lot better compared to the guys further down?
I suppose it probably does help compared to the likes of Nathan, because he's running a fair way down the road, and if it's dry it would get quite swept and grippy, so I suppose really it's a godsend for us.
Great, thanks Richard.
Thank you.
Nathan, second fastest. Richard was 23 seconds quicker. I think you've lost the rally lead.
Oh, that's right. I'm not too fast. Driving this far up the road is so much more slippery and so much more hard work that it's fine. We had cattle to deal with too, so I'm not too fast. Good on, Richard.
When the rain came down, did it affect you?
Definitely. Makes things a lot harder, a lot more slipperier, and just generally a lot more difficult, you know.
Unfortunately, Brett Martin's day would end on this stage, the car going off the road and suffering a heavy rollover early in the stage. And bad luck too for Dylan Turner, who saw his top 5 chances evaporate. Having to drive through the stage, stuck in 3rd gear, proved too much for the car. So the door now open for Dean Sumner, and he moved up to 3rd, but still 23 seconds down on Thomas and suffering from an unusual encounter in the stage.
Dean, a bit of a problem with cattle in there?
Oh yeah, it was a bit of a joke really. Just about 5 cows running down the middle of the road, and we were stuck behind them for probably half a minute. They just wouldn't get off the road, and the kick in the front of the car, and would have lost 30 seconds easy.
Emma Gilmore also struck the cattle, but the problem was not deemed to be significant by the clerk of the course, so no allowance was made. Gilmore was 9th fastest, but moved up to 8th overall. Sam Murray took 4th with Martin's retirement, but was now 47 seconds down on the leader Mason. Hayden Padden would have to settle for 5th and a massive 1 minute 32 seconds down on the lead. Just look at the way his car is moving all over the road as he led the field through the stage.
Now there's 2 things that affected Hayden here. One, it wasn't raining when he was going through, and second is the obvious, the gravel on the road, really struggling with it.
Rookie Callum McInnes had a brush with the scenery on stage 2, but despite that had moved up to 6th overall after being 5th fastest through this stage. Patrick Malley had the pedal to the metal, and by stage end he was in 7th, just 3.7 seconds behind McInnes. So it's Richard Mason out front, where he wants to be. Now 8.7 seconds clear of Thomas with 2 stages to go. Dean Sumner and Sam Murray still in touch, but the field then spreads out with 8th place Emma Gilmore, 3 minutes 16 seconds down on the leader. Welcome back to Rally Wairarapa, where a fierce battle was in place for the honour of the fastest 2-wheel drive car. Aaron Cook was fastest through stage 1, but Mark Tapper's rally nearly ended before the start of stage 1, and he found himself having to improvise repairs on the roadside.
I was just driving along and blew a rear brake line, so the brake pedal just went to the floor, and trying to do some quick repairs before we start the stage.
Despite copping a 40-second penalty for a late start and having no rear brakes, Tapper plugged on to be the leading Group N3 Fiesta by stage 3 and just 12 seconds behind the second 2-wheel drive car of Dave Strong. After service, Tapper made a charge on special stage 4 to close within 30 seconds of Cook and overtake Strong for second. Of the other N3 Fiestas, Chris Long from Southland was having a great battle with Auckland's Kane Barry. Long had the edge all morning, but by the end of stage 4, the gap back to Barry was just 2.9 seconds.
I don't think that'll worry Kane Barry, because basically he's leading the championship. He's had no DNFs, the others have, so he's really looking good as far as the championship's concerned.
Robert Murray had built up a 1-minute lead in the Classic Championship class in his main freight RX-7. Both he and the other Classics were suffering in the gravel swept off the road by the 4-wheel drive cars. Unfortunately, their rear-wheel drive cars were finding the gravel now piled on to their ideal lines on the road. The Mazda RX-3 of Ewan Fuge held second, while Rob Wiley had his Nissan 240 a further minute back. So the results for the 2-wheel drives, and Aaron Cook the best in 9th overall, ahead of the 4-wheel drive Subaru of Kirsty Nelson. Mark Tapper leading the Fiesta class, and Bert Murray ahead of the Classics in 12th overall, with Dave Strong dropping 3 places in stage 4. So 2 stages to go before the cars return to Masterton. First up, Port Edode, just 15k, and then North Road, which ends after 13.6k, just north of Masterton. Hayden Padden had really paid a hefty penalty for running 1 on the road today, but the young driver had taken it all on board, not panicking, and he would finish the day with 5th place points to add to his championship standing.
Well, Hayden has got through the day today. A new experience for him, first on the road with this heavy gravel build-up.
5 right in, 3 left.
But hats off to Richard Mason, who despite running second on the road, had put to good use his intimate knowledge of these stages and charged hard when he could to lead the rally back to Masterton.
Well, a great effort today by Richard. Remember, he's 2 on the road. He's virtually got the same problem as Hayden Paddon. Now look at his eyes. Brilliant concentration there.
Dean Sumner had also shown maturity, putting the time lost with the cattle on stage 4 behind him, and was second fastest over both these stages as he tried to catch Nathan Thomas. But Thomas held out. Sumner would have to settle for third, while Thomas was celebrating putting his mark on the championship history books after a remarkable day. Fourth for Sam Murray also keeps him in the championship race, but concerned that he was eventually over a minute 13 behind Mason after just 6 stages. Once again, rookie Callum McInnes showed he's going to be hard to beat for that title. 6th place, although nearly 2.5 minutes off the lead. Patrick Malley also showed great promise here in 7th. The gap to McInnes just 20 seconds in the end. Not a great return to the championship, though, for Emma Gilmore.
It's 350. What am I doing wrong? You're guessing you're like not really doing anything. Just like get on it, yeah. 350 kinks.
Well, you can hear there Emma has lost her confidence, and it's no surprise after the big crash, but she has got all the experience of Glenn sitting beside her to get her through this. She's just got to be a little bit patient.
34 left. 34 right. Don't panic. You're doing a job. 4 right.
Gilmore eventually coming home in 8th. Aaron Cook led the 2-wheel drive challenge all day, and 9th place, a much-needed boost after not finishing round 2. Mark Tapper also needed to score points here after 2 DNFs, and after a wobbly start, he hauled himself into the N3 lead and never looked challenged. Technology has come a long way in 20 years. Despite having twice the horsepower of the Fiestas, Robert Murray's RX-7 had to be happy with 12th overall and the classic class lead. So Richard Mason did exactly what he set out to do on his home rally, a come-from-behind battle for the lead and laying down the gauntlet for Leg 2. And what a day for Wellington driver Nathan Thomas to hold second on the day. Aaron Cook, the leading K2 and 2-wheel drive car, and Kirsty Nelson second in the rookie battle, again in 11th overall.
Richard, congratulations. The first day is yours.
Oh, fantastic news. It's certainly a bit of a relief. We needed to get some good points, so it's a good start to it.
Struggled earlier in the day. You won it by 19 seconds in the end.
Yeah, we've certainly got a problem. I thought it was centre diff, but it's worked out that it's front diff, probably from our punctures up north, just wearing out the plates on the front diff, and that in turn is sort of wearing out the centre diff as well. So unfortunately we won't be able to do anything about that for the rest of the rally, so we'll just have to drive with it. We've made some changes to the car that have sort of proved to not make it too bad, really, so it is drivable.
And plenty to celebrate for Nathan Thomas, his first podium finish on what really is home turf for the Wellington driver.
Nathan, congratulations. First time in a podium national championship event, second.
Yep, thank you. It's been an amazing experience today.
In terms of earlier on in the day, you held the lead until about 3 stages from home.
Yeah, I definitely think that road position paid a huge dividend in that. Like Mason and Paddon struggling in the thick, heavy gravel, and I had a bit more of a swept road. But we still pushed and we stood all right, so paid off for us.
If the worst happens and someone is injured in a rally stage, there's an FIV waiting at the stage start to render emergency assistance as soon as possible.
We get our orders from Rally HQ, it's all coordinated from there. So if there's an accident between here and the first midpoint of the stage, then they'll pause the stage for 2 minutes and we'll be sent in to assess. We've got 2 ambulances that are roaming between the stages. So if we go to an incident and unfortunately, or unfortunate for the people that are being badly injured, then we can call in back up with that ambulance to transport patients.
As Hayden Paddon once again leads the field from Masterton, let's check out what's ahead on Leg 2 of Rally Wairarapa.
The first 3 stages include the famous Barton's Line. At 23 kilometres, it's the longest stage of today, with all of the others being between 8 and 12 kilometres long. It's also a famous rally sprint road in the area, so local drivers such as Richard should go very well here. Luckily, we only do it once. Off to stage 10, Quarry Cliff Road. Just a short stage, but has a fantastic spectator point in the middle where you can really attack the hairpin. But you have to be careful later on in the stage. You can't afford to go wide, as there's some deep mud culverts that make it very difficult to get back on. Onto a new stage, again should be fast and flowing, before we then repeat stage 9 before heading back to service. Interesting situation with stage 13. The start of the stage is the reverse of Barton's line from the morning. And although the stage will be swept, the lines will be completely different and you just have to show a bit more caution in some parts. We then go off to stage 14, which will be the final stage of the rally, and again will be fast and it will be all on to see who wins the event.
So another day of sweeping the gravel for Hayden Paddon, but light rain's falling, so this may help.
Well, it certainly will help a little bit today for Hayden, who's still number 1 on the road. He's still going to have the gravel build-up. Later in the day, it's going to be better for him because they've got some repeat stages.
Keep left over crest, 80, 6 left line, 30.
Mason next on the road, and he's on max attack through here. His time, 9 minutes 45, 20 seconds faster than Paddon. Sam Murray next through, and Roger the car definitely not as fast as Richard's Subaru.
Nowhere near as fast. In fact, in some ways, Sam has almost lost his confidence. I don't know why, but he's really struggling with this car. Maybe it's a handling issue, maybe suspension, tyres, but I'm sure Sam will work on it and get on top of it.
50 straight to 6 left.
Emma Gilmore next through the stage, and Roger, I wonder if she's had to rethink her approach to this rally.
Well, Darcy, there's 2 issues here. First off, her big crash she had up north, confidence factor. The second thing, it's a brand new car. She's done no testing.
Just 10th fastest through the stage, so still some work to do.
80, 6 left minus long, tightens 5 plus, 6 left minus long, tightens 5 plus.
Dean Sumner, on the other hand, was well in control of second place. He was just 5 seconds slower than Mason.
Dean, second fastest so far?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think Richard's on a mission in this rally as expected, and I think we're just going to probably have to let him go, really. Yeah, it's pretty slippery, and I'm still getting used to driving these conditions of the unswept road. Yeah.
And once again, Nathan Thomas taking advantage of his position to post 3rd fastest time with a 9 minutes 57.8, just 7 seconds slower than Sumner. And Callum McInnes continued his push to be the fastest rookie. He now lies in 4th for League 2. Patrick Malley did better than his 7th yesterday to open his League 2 with a top 5 placing. And after an all-night effort, Brett Martin was back, although the car did have a mystery misfire which slowed him to 9th fastest. Also back running after replacing the turbo and repairing their gearbox, Dylan Turner and Sandy Bansell, opening their League 2 account with 8th place.
Well, Darcy, look at these nice roads in Wairarapa. Once again, for Dylan, quite a good road condition.
Short 5 left, 30, short 6
looks like they're working a lot better in the car.
7 right minus, short 6 left.
Dylan just said quick, so he wants the notes a little bit faster, but I think they're getting down pat with the notes.
Stage 8, Barton's Line, and Stage 9 at Central Mangaoni, both fast stages which Richard Mason was expected to dominate. And a large crowd was in attendance to watch the action.
Okay, right, 50.
In fact, the road conditions are slightly better for Paddon through Barton's Line.
Yes, they certainly appear to be. And this is your classic Wairarapa stage, Barton's Line. A lot of history on this stage. Looks like Hayden's really enjoying this one.
2 right to tar, 100.
Paddon's time, 13 minutes 13. That's 20 seconds slower than the record. Now on board with Richard Mason. Look at the commitment here.
Remember, he nearly had a big crash here last year. But Mason, he's really on it. He owns this event. He's never been beaten in this event since it's become a national championship round.
Mason, a 12-minute 47.6. That's just 0.2 of a second slower than the record set by Chris West in 2004. Callum McInnes put in a stunner, second fastest, but still 18 seconds slower than Mason. Nathan Thomas crashed out, so Dean Sumner held second place. He was 3rd fastest, 1 second slower than McInnes. Mason's charge continued through stage 9. His car looking more like a WRC car than a production car.
Well, Darcy, they are actually going downhill, but look at his commitment through here. Fantastic driving. Richard Mason, he struggled earlier on at Whangarei, but he's back.
Mason's time, 8 minutes 45.8, but the real surprise was the pace of Hayden Padden, second fastest through this stage with an 8 minutes 54.
5 left minus line, 30.
Well, you see him go sideways through there, so Hayden committed to that corner. I think he's starting to get his head round being number 1 on the road.
McInnes held on to his third place with a time just 1.8 seconds slower than Padden. Sumner was just fourth fastest and was now 36 seconds behind Mason, but still 7 seconds clear of McInnes. If Thomas had been the surprise on day 1, Patrick Malley was his equal on day 2, having the best drive of his career to be in 5th. So after 3 stages, Richard Mason in a commanding position on leg 2 of Rally Wairarapa. But if Hayden Padden can get up to 2nd from 4th, he will retain his championship lead. So still a lot to fight for.
It's certainly been a good morning for us. The gravel has been heavy, but we've been driving fairly committed, and the stage size will be good.
Talking about committed, you've got a 36-second rally lead.
Oh, that's certainly good. I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but that's a good start.
Dean Sumner seemed happy to consolidate his 2nd place, also aiming for 2nd overall for the 2 days.
Dean, reasonable morning. You're currently 2nd.
Yeah, Mason's he's on a mission this morning and he's been flying, and we had all that time on us from yesterday, and so yeah, I'm just going to let him go, I think, and we're just going to really consolidate and hold position at the moment.
But Sam Murray's been left wondering what's gone wrong with his car.
Sam, looks like the morning's not too hot at the moment. Did you run in about 6th place, I think?
It's been a terrible morning. We didn't make any changes to the car last night, and we sort of wondered whether we should have, and it would appear this morning that we definitely should have. So that's our plan for now, and then head out to the stages this afternoon.
I think you've got even Patrick Malley ahead of you, Callum McInnes. So is it road conditions?
I would hope so, but you know, Richard's going fast and Hayden's going faster and Dean's going fast, so yeah, I don't think you can blame it on that. I know that we're going slow, but we're having so many moments just going slow that it's not funny, so yeah, it's not good.
Welcome back to Rally Wairarapa, Leg 2. Mark Tapper had to concede to the superior power of Aaron Cook's Honda on Leg 1 in the battle to be the fastest 2-wheel drive. But on Leg 2, he put in a gritty drive to dominate over the first 3 stages. The Ford's superior handling and his no-holds-barred driving saw him lead every stage, eventually carrying a 10-second lead over Cook, going to the service break at Eketahuna. Cook had been 16 seconds behind on Barton's line, but made up 6 seconds on the next stage. In the classic battle, Bert Murray was struggling. His normally reliable main freight RX-7 was suffering gearbox woes, and he was trailing Ewan Fuge on stage 7 and 8 before the box finally gave up and he retired. Dave Strong was 2nd fastest in the Kiwi 2 battle and 3rd in 2-wheel drives, although he was being pushed hard by another of the Group N Fiestas. Chris Long had briefly led Strong on stage 8 by just 0.3 of a second, but at service he was 4th 2-wheel drive by 7 seconds. It was a close battle though, with Kane Barry, who had his Ford just 5 seconds further back in what was one of the closest battles in the rally. With Murray out, Ewan Fuge kept the rotary honours going, leading the class, going to the service break and placing 18th overall, just 1.4 seconds ahead of Reg Cook. Stage 10 and 11, and now, for the first time on the rally, Stage 12, a repeat of 9, so some clear roads for Hayden Padden to look forward to.
For those people that have just turned up.
But first he had to negotiate Stage 10, a classic stage just behind the Eketahuna Township and popular with the spectators. It's just 7.82k long, so Hayden's not overly disadvantaged and sets a time of 4 minutes 33. But Richard Mason's next on the road, and look at the speed he's carrying.
He's certainly carrying a lot of speed through here. Richard's got the rally lead and he's not letting up at all.
Mason's time, 4 minutes 31.9, only 1.1 seconds faster than Padden. Dean Sumner had a shocker through here though. He was 7th fastest with 4 minute 42 and really opened the door for 3rd place McInnes. McInnes continued his good form, a 4 minute 37.7, 3rd fastest, and he closed the gap to Sumner to just 2.4 seconds, but with Padden just 5.7 seconds behind him in 4th. And Patrick Malley joined that tight tussle too, 4th fastest on the stage and now just 12 seconds down on Padden in 5th. With a service break to fix his Mitsubishi's problems, Brett Martin was back on form and on a charge to make up lost time. 5th fastest on the stage and now moving up 2 places to 6th overall. But Emma Gilmore's day just went from bad to worse. A gear selection problem here was followed just a few K later by a total loss of drive and the end of her day.
You can roll down the hill, can you, or not?
I don't know if it's better.
Just park on the side and turn it off, and then see what happens if you actually just start it again. Try and put it in gear and start it.
Okay. So check.
5 left minus.
Stage 12, and let's take a ride with Richard Mason as he extends his League 2 lead out to nearly 1 minute after 5 stages.
50. Crest at 50 for right minus.
Well, let's just say that 1 minute over 5 stages, he's absolutely blitzed the opposition here, driving with brilliant commitment on his home event.
Dean Sumner under real pressure now for that 2nd position. He was 10 seconds down on Mason in 11 and 7 seconds down on 12. But behind him, McInnes and Padden were in red-hot form. Disaster, though, for McInnes. He punches on stage 11, losing 30 seconds. So Hayden Padden now on with a real shot at 2nd. On stage 11, he closed within 2 seconds of Sumner. By stage 12, the gap is back to 6 seconds. Dylan Turner looked to set himself up for a challenge on Sam Murray's 6th place. On stage 11, he had the gap down to 2.5 seconds, but on stage 12, Turner was just 8th fastest and dropped back a place behind Brett Martin. Murray was holding 6th, but this was a very frustrating performance for the Palmerston North driver. So no doubt about Mason's dominance. But just look at the battle for 2nd. With 2 stages to go, Sumner and Padden just 6 seconds apart and just over 2 seconds separating Malley and McInnes for 4th.
Looks like Richard's got this thing wrapped up, but big battle between you and Dean Sumner. There's 6 seconds between you in front of in Dean's favour.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, we'll just have a nice clean run through these next 2, and what will happen, and we'll just concentrate on our own rally, and if it comes with a good result at the end, well, that's great.
And in the ITM team camp, a fairly relaxed Dean Sumner despite the close battle.
Dean, you pulled a blinder in the last one. You got a 6-second lead over Hayden for 2nd place. You're 2nd.
Oh, yeah, cool. We've 2 stages to go, and we're repeating one of them, so it makes it a bit easier. The road surface doesn't change as much on a repeated stage, so you can push on that one a bit harder.
But no one could match Mason, who was clearly enjoying his time at the front.
Yeah, I do like those swept roads. It's unfortunately we didn't get a good run up at Whangarei, but for me they're actually my favourite roads, is when it's swept and hard and you can really keep it quite a straight car, but a really high amount of corner speed, and that for me is quite exciting.
And Callum McInnes finding some positives despite that puncture.
Callum, after your problem, you pulled another blinder, 3rd fastest in the previous stage.
Yeah, that's a good time. I didn't realise that. It was nice to drive on swept roads, actually. Coming from Clubman's, I'm probably a bit more used to those conditions. And, yeah, we really wanted to push hard after losing all that time on stage 11.
So, just 2 stages to go on League 2 of Rally Wairarapa, with the prospect of swept stages for Hayden Padden. classic class, with 5 finishes from the 6 entrants. Mike Cameron in a Lancer, which he has rallied since new, coming home in 5th. Keith Frankham in his 2nd year of classic, coming home 4th in his Corolla. Former Group N champ Deborah Kibble showing better pace in 3rd in her Lancer. And Rob Wiley really pouring on the pace to take 2nd in the class, ahead of a great drive from Ewan Fuge in a car that finished on the podium outright here 30 years ago. Shane Booth nursed the gearless Ignis home to take 5th place in Kiwi 2. Reg Cook would finish 4th in the Kiwi 2 class and 18th for the day. Andrew Keeley with another 3rd in class and 15th overall. And once again, Dave Strong had to settle for 2nd behind Aaron Cook, but his better finish record will see him hold on to the class lead. Cook badly needed 1st place points to restore any hopes of retaining his title, and he did that here, but still there's a long way to go in the championship battle. So Cook now 3rd in the championship, but 51 points behind with just 3 one-day events to go for this class. In the Group N3 class, Dermot Malley 4th in class and 21st overall after losing his clutch late in the day. Kane Barry, another disappointing day, 3rd in class and 20 seconds down on long. But a great comeback from his non-finish at Whangarei for long and valuable points as well. But no one could touch Mark Tapper, not only 1st in class, but an amazing 8th overall. Barry's championship lead now 29 points, but Tapper looks likely to at least move into 2nd on the next rally if his form continues. He may be only 15, but a mature drive by Sloane Cox to finish in 16th on his first New Zealand Rally Championship drive. But disaster for Callum McInnes, who crashed on stage 13 and dropped back to 12th overall. So Kirsty Nelson gets another top 10 finish and the first rookie on leg 2.
7 left, there's a bump, 100. 7 right, kinks 100. Yep, 6 right over.
After a frustrating return to the championship at Whangarei, Sandy Bansal and Dylan Turner worked at their pace notes and came out with a much-deserved result, 7th place. Brett Martin proved that you never give up, bringing his battered and bruised Mitsubishi home in 6th for the day. At times, Sam Murray must have felt like giving up, but 5th place still gives him the points he needs. What a great result, though, for Patrick Malley. He'll be hoping that he's turned the corner and can repeat his 4th place on the next event at his home in Hawke's Bay. Hayden Padden settled for 3rd, and of course that means that he trails Richard Mason going into round 4. More importantly, it means that he won't start 1st on the road, an experience he'll be keen not to repeat in these conditions. Sumner kept his 6-second buffer over Padden and achieved his goal of 2nd, having conceded victory to Mason after the first stage. And no wonder, no one could get close to Mason on this event, and what a great effort to reclaim the championship lead.
7 left plus a finish, kinks 350. Wicked.
So after leg 2, Richard Mason dominant at his home rally in his Subaru, followed up by the twin Mitsubishi threats of Dean Sumner and Hayden Padden, and a fantastic result for Mark Tapper in 8th in his Ford Fiesta.
Richard, total domination. You won today, you won yesterday, you probably won the overall, the rally, by about 2 minutes.
Yeah, no, that was certainly a fantastic result for us, and one that we required after our terrible result up at Whangarei.
Dean, big battle with Hayden today, but in your favour, you came home second.
Yeah, he didn't make it easy for us, and I came right down to the wire. I think that's the first time we've had to drive as fast as we can on the last stage, and yeah, but it makes it interesting anyway, but exciting.
Hayden, big battle today with Dean Sumner. Unfortunately for you, he just got you, so you're third.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to that. It means that we slipped down to second in the championship now, which in hindsight means that we might have to sweep the road at Hawke's Bay. And then the other thing is, yeah, it would have been nice to get second, but we weren't going to do anything silly in that last stage, and what will be was our attitude going in there, and that's how it's ended up.